everyone, Miss Melior here, and if you follow me on Instagram or maybe from the title of this video, you will already know that I'm engaged! I posted the engagement announcement on Instagram a few days ago, and I also put up an engagement video on YouTube, so if you want to see how my fiance actually proposed, I will link that video down in the description box below. And I just want to say thank you to each of you who follow me on Instagram for the overwhelming amount of love and support that you guys have been showing these past few days. I knew that the post was going to get attention and that you guys would be happy for me, but I didn't realize just how much your love and support would mean to me and how special it is for me that you can all be a part of this like really special time of my life. So I asked you guys on my highlight stories if there was anything you wanted to know about me, my fiance, our relationship, the engagement, the wedding, and I encouraged you to be extremely nosy, and I'm so excited about some of the questions that I saw on there. So I'm gonna just go through each of them and answer them. We'll start with the basics, which is what most people wanted to know, which is how we met and how long we've been together. So we actually met officially at a business conference. It's not really a conference, it's like a retreat. It's very small, and so everyone kind of knows each other, and I had been going for a few years. It's annually, it's held in Lithuania in the summer, and it was his first year. So he was kind of like new, and everyone thought he was cute and wanted to get to know him, but he had a girlfriend, so he wasn't showing anyone the time of day. So we actually didn't speak at all. So the first time we got to know each other was a few months later in December of 2018. A friend of mine here in Budapest, who is also a member of this business group, he was throwing a Christmas party with his now fiance, and I was invited as well. Ujis was also invited. So he flew down from where he was living, Riga, for the day just to go to this holiday party, and then he slept over at our friends and left the next day. I showed up at 7 o'clock right when it was supposed to start, and he had already been there because he flew in, and he was wearing this ridiculously dorky light blue sweater that everyone makes fun of him for to this day. When I first saw him, I thought he was gonna be like a total dork. He came up to me and waited for me to finish a conversation I was having with someone else, and then sort of started talking to me, and we didn't stop talking for the entire night. And it was absolutely the best conversation that I'd had with a guy. It wasn't only serious topics. We had a lot of fun together. He was really goofy, and I could tell that he was really intelligent as well. So yeah, we hit it off, and I remember like I went into the bathroom and I was like looking myself in the mirror, and I knew that this is the man I was gonna marry. And the next day I actually texted my cousin and told her, I just met the man I'm gonna marry. Can you save this message in a screenshot? Because no one's gonna believe me when we get married and I'm like, oh, I knew. They're gonna be like, yeah, everyone says that, but I actually knew. So that's how we met. We've been together for 2.5 years, roughly. And another question that was asked was about our first date. And we actually don't have an official first date. During the Christmas party, he invited me to to spend New Year's with him in Riga. So the party was on December 8th, and obviously New Year's is the 31st. So he was pretty drunk when he invited me. And I remember the next morning when he was getting in the cab to go to the airport, I was like, okay, so I'll see you in Latvia. And he was like, okay, great. I actually showed up and we spent a week together. It was really nice. We got along really well. I really enjoyed my time there, and I think we hit it off, but he was really uninterested in doing or having a long distance relationship. He had done it in the past, and so he was convinced that it would never work. But I was very persistent, and I knew he would fall in love with me, so we kind of worked out an ultimatum, which was that he was going to move to Budapest for the month of February and get an Airbnb, and we would just see how it went. And if we absolutely knew that we wanted to be together, then we would figure it out after that. But if it didn't work out, then at least we tried. The month of January, my apartment had grown mold and I was being kicked out. I wasn't allowed to live there anymore. So I was like, oh great, you're getting an Airbnb in Budapest, I'll just move in with you. And so we lived together. Before we were even dating, we'd spent like a week together total. And that could have gone really horribly, but it ended up being just perfect, like amazing. Not that it was all like sunshine and roses. I remember we had our first argument and it was quite a big one. This actually leads into another question that I got asked, which is relationship advice for fights and disagreements. And obviously everybody's different, but I'll just tell you how we handle it, and if it relates to you, then great. So back to this first fight that we had, he made a joke or something that I found insensitive, and my natural reaction is to ignore someone when I'm upset. I was really bad at communicating how I was feeling at the time. I used to think like, oh, I just need space, it's okay. But he sort of made me aware that it's not okay for me to just ignore him. We're in a relationship together and I should be able to communicate with him. So we actually came up with an agreement that I would set a timer whenever I felt upset, and the timer would have 30 minutes and I could do and act and behave however I wanted for 30 minutes, however I felt like I wanted to feel. But when that timer was up, I had to approach him and tell him exactly how I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. Now we don't even need a timer, and when I am feeling a certain type of way, I still sometimes have to like take a beat, but it's not nearly as long, and I'm totally comfortable with approaching him and talking to him about absolutely anything. And when he gets upset, he has this habit of, I call it like throwing a tantrum. He'll like literally stomp off or slam a door or something. And it's just because he gets so aggravated at the situation. And I told him how just it drove me berserk. And so he stopped, and we don't slam doors anymore. I would say my advice is to, when you're not fighting, communicate about how you actually fight and explain what the other person does that you don't like or that you find unacceptable. And when we're not fighting, we talk about how he doesn't like that I ignore him, and I don't like that he slams doors and huffs and puffs around. So we both actively work on fixing these things during the argument. Then if you do your part to consciously and actively fix things that they don't like during an argument, then they should show you some respect and do the same. Okay, so on to a more fun topic. Another question I got asked a few times was if we wanted kids, and the answer is a big, huge yes. Part of the whole reason that we are getting married is because we're both ready to start a family. We actually already have kids' names picked out, and we know how many we want 4. So yes, we do want kids. How are you two so glamorous? Thank you. What is his best and worst quality, and what is yours? That's a good question. So I asked him what my best and worst quality was, and he said that my worst quality was asking a bunch of questions that make him uncomfortable. So for example, I'll like randomly, we're like falling asleep, and I'll randomly ask him like, what was a moment in your life that really impacted who you are? And I think about these things, and I really enjoy digging into my past and his past and trying to figure out, you know, like why we are the way we are. And for him, he's just like, ugh, he doesn't like deep thinking or deep emotion or anything like that. So that's my worst quality. And then my best quality is how good I am with people. I would say his worst quality is maybe the slamming door thing. That really pisses me off. Definitely his best quality is how real he is and objective he is. He sees things for how they are, and he helps me do the same. And he just makes me a better person like all the time. So cheesy. What line of work is your fiance in? So when we met, he was co-owner of iPhone Photography School, which sells iPhone photography courses. But last year he sold his shares in the company, retired, and then recently decided that he was going to start a second business. So now he runs a company that hires employees for small remote businesses, and it's going well. He's got multiple hires under his belt and 2 employees, so go babe. No questions, just wanted to let you know that I'm happy for you. Oh, thanks, Kim. You've always been like so supportive of me and so kind. I absolutely love you, and I hope that you're doing well. OMG, this pic is everything. How do you keep the spice in your relationship? Oh, that's a question. We're both really good about having positive and grateful attitudes towards each other. So throughout the day, we're like popping in and out of our workspaces and just giving each other buchas or, you know, like encouraging the other person. And obviously that makes you attracted to that person. And also we are really schedule-oriented people. We like to plan things, so we've actually scheduled in time for us. I don't know if it's because we come from like an entrepreneurial background where we were taught that structure is freedom, and we just find that this means we never go too long without spending intimate time together or just enjoying each other's company. So that's such a boring answer, but we pencil it in. Okay, so this next question is, how old are you both and how did you know for sure that this was it for you guys? So I am 24, I'll be 25 in November, and Ujis just turned 30 in February. His birthday is actually Valentine's Day. So we knew this was it. How did we know this was it? Well, like I said, I knew the day we met, but for Ujis, I remember when we first started dating, I actually moved to Latvia to be with him, and we were sitting on the roof of his office and he was reading to me some plans that he had made. Like I said, we're big planners, and one of the things was that he wanted to have a family by 30. And I remember like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna have kids like that soon. And he said, no, by family, I just mean that you and I are a family and that we're married. So I think he knew early on as well, or he was at least thinking about our future in that way. And I think that kind of leads into the next question, which is how did we know we were ready for marriage? And I think for Udias, it was just kind of like he's, old and financially old. He's older and he's financially established, and he'd met this woman that he wanted to be with. So I don't think it was like this big revelation for him. For me, I remember when we first met, I was certain that I would get married at 30 and have kids at 32. I was in that kind of mindset, but when I met him, I just, I fell in love with him, and I knew that I wanted to have a family with him, and we would talk about having a family, and having a family was just something that both of us valued over everything else. We both agree that family is everything, and I didn't understand why I was postponing the thing that makes life worth living, that was postponing having a family. There was no real reason for me not to, and with a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness, I just kind of asked myself and tried to picture my life in certain situations, like walking the dog or cooking a meal or sewing an outfit. I would be thinking, okay, if there was a baby here, what would this look like? Could I handle it? Am I ready for it? What does a commitment look like with someone? And Ujis and I's relationship is just so healthy that I'm confident that a marriage and family will only make it more full. And I know that I'm a responsible person. I've been living in a completely separate country from my parents since I was 18. I just know that I'm gonna be a good mom and that I'm ready to be a wife and commit to one person for the rest of my life. And I'm really confident in that. But it wasn't something that I knew the whole time. I went through a sort of growth phase where I slowly started to realize these things, how important it was to me to have a family, and that I wanted it now. Okay, so now we have all the questions about the engagement and the wedding, which is so exciting. So how long did you plan the proposal? And I assume she means Ujias. And he said that he knew the concept, like the photo shoot idea, back in January. He was watching YouTube videos like best ways to propose and he came across a guy who like threw rose petals and had his girlfriend think she was in a photo shoot. So he kind of took that concept and made it work for us. But there was a bit of a situation with the ring, which I will answer in a second because that was some of the questions. But he had to wait to get the ring. He couldn't start getting it until I think March. And then it only came in a week before he proposed, a week ago. So it took him quite a few months. And the situation with the ring was that I wanted to have a family heirloom. I thought it would be super sentimental to have a ring that was maybe passed down through my family. I didn't know if we had any rings like that. And so when we flew to Arizona in February, I met with my grand aunt. My grandmother has passed away, so she is the matriarch of the family. And I sort of asked her and told her about my ideas, and she was a little bit reluctant. I think she had already willed all of the rings to the granddaughters, and the one that she showed me wasn't really engagement-like. It just wasn't the size or shape of an engagement ring. It wasn't suitable, is what I'm trying to say. And that was fine. I just remember in the airport on the way home, I sent him pictures from Pinterest of rings that I liked, including one that looked just like this one. And I also remember him saying that he actually didn't like the rectangle shape, so I was convinced that I wasn't gonna get exactly what I wanted, but then he opened the box and it was so beautiful. I'm so happy. He had it made through a local jeweler here who our friends, the ones I previously mentioned who are now engaged, he went through her as well. So this is an emerald and these are little diamonds, and then it's on a gold band. Actually, it is a little bit too big because I measured my ring size just on my own at home, which I don't recommend. Actually go to a jeweler and get your real ring size. It's better that it's too big than too small though, because that would have made like the video really awkward, but that's why sometimes you might see me wear it on this finger because it just fits better. But engagement tip there for you. Where is the wedding? Did you know he was asking? So I did know that he was going to ask because he had asked for my parents' blessing back in December when we were all together in Serbia. And my dad told me later that when they were talking, my dad asked if he knew how he was gonna propose, and he said, no, but I know that it has to be like an event. So he gets that American culture. It's cute. I also knew he was gonna propose because we already have a date set to go to the courthouse and get married. So we're gonna get married in Latvia on June 19th. Both our mothers will be there as witnesses, and I am gonna sew my own dress. And yes, I am gonna rewear it, absolutely. I think I'm gonna crop it into like a cute floral top and a big skirt. I don't know yet, but we'll do something. Following the marriage June 19th, we are planning a more traditional wedding in Arizona. We're looking around October, and it's still gonna be very small for what I think of as being a traditionally American wedding. My mom would love for there to be 200 people, but we're keeping a cap on it to around 60 to 70 people. So I want it to be cute and I want to put effort into the decor. I'm going to DIY a lot of it myself with the help of my wonderful bridesmaids who are my cousins. But I will get a dress for that one and my dad will walk me down the aisle and it will be more traditional. I'm thinking like rustic decor. I already have a dress in my head that I would absolutely love to get. I have a dress fitting with a designer here who lives actually on my street on June 12th with my mom and two of my best friends here. So I'll officially pick out a dress next month, but I'm really excited for that. And we already have a venue found in Arizona, so it's just a friend's backyard. But yeah, I'm so far loving the planning process and really excited for October. So I will be making my own dress and using a made-to-order bridal boutique here, as well as doing a lot of like florals. And I don't know if this really counts as like eco-friendly, but it is going to be budget-friendly. So we're keeping a really small budget, smaller than I think typical for a traditional wedding. And I think that's gonna help keep sort of excess to a minimum. And that is all of the questions that you guys asked. I hope I gave enough detail about everything, and if there's anything that you thought of that you want to know further, just leave it in the comment section below or DM me over on Instagram. Again, I absolutely have loved all of the conversations that I've got to have with each of you over this, and some of you guys even knew before I posted about it because you watch the YouTube videos or we're just getting close on Instagram on Instagram. So that's been super fun for me, and I'm just really excited about this stage in my life. And I'm gonna try to make my own dress, so I'll definitely film that and let you guys know what the process is like. A little nervous, hopefully it turns out. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.